From Todd Stadium in Newport News, WHCS Channel 29 presents Eastern Regional Semifinal Division 6 Group AAA High School Football. The Hampton Crabbers versus the Kecoughtan Warriors. Good evening, everybody. I'm Tim Cole, along with Bob Hintz and A.G. Womble. We are here at Todd Stadium for tonight's game, the semifinals of the Division 6 between the Kecoughtan Warriors and the Hampton Crabbers. And Bob, we've got two teams that have met previously. The score indicated that Hampton won handily by the score of 20-3, but that really wasn't the true story of that game.
No, in fact, Hampton, I think, ended up gaining about 313 yards in that game, and most of it was in the second half. They scored with a few seconds to go in the first half, which gave them a 7-3 lead. At that point, they had trailed almost the whole first half, 3-0. I had a chance to talk with both coaches during the week, and neither one of them are too thrilled about paying the other one for the second time. And it's not because they don't like the other team, but it's when you get into playoffs, you like to represent your district. And the Peninsula District is being represented by two teams here, and on the other side, you've got the same thing going on where you've got the Southeastern playing the Beach District. But I've talked to them, and it's going to be an exciting game. They've had a week layoff, so they didn't play any last week. In fact, they didn't know they were going to play each other until Tuesday night. And, of course, there's been some changes with forfeiture of games over at Woodrow Wilson, which caused some of the problems. But it's going to be a super night for football, Tim. The weather is brisk side, which is good for football, not for the people sitting in the stands. But we're looking forward to a great game tonight.
Of course, this game is always a big rivalry game between these two schools. As long as I can remember, Hampton and Kecoughtan have played a hard-fought game. Hampton leads the series, but Kecoughtan has always represented themselves very well against the Crabbers, and I expect nothing less than that tonight. Kecoughtan comes into the game 7-2, having lost to Hampton 20-3, and then to a Bethel team 24-20. That same Bethel team, of course, caused the only upset loss for the Hampton Crabbers when they beat them 16-0 in the final regular season game for both teams.
Well, and I talked to Coach Smith about that, and I'm not trying to take anything away from Bethel. Bethel played an excellent game, but Bethel did not do anything different than what the Hampton Crabbers thought they were going to do. But it's hard to get a team mentally prepared to go in when you know you've already won the district, you're already going to go into the playoffs and that sort of thing. And we're pretty fortunate. Out of the 4 Hampton schools, 3 of the schools are in the playoffs. Tomorrow night we got the Phoebus playing Manor over Western Branch.
All right, while we have the opportunity, let's run down the Hampton offense and defense, and Kecoughtan's offense and defense as well. For the Hampton Crabbers on offense, they'll start off with Williams at center. The guards will be Jones and Mabry. The tackles, Mason and Riddick. The tight end is Cofield. The right end is Wilson. The quarterback, Eric Hunter. Dwayne Murphy will be one of the fullback. The tailback will be Mike Stefanko, the leading rusher in the Peninsula District. And Hyman will be the flanker for the Crabbers. On defense.
Okay, I'll catch the defense. Williams and Lawrence are the 2 guards on defense because they play a 6-man front. Mason and Wilson are the tackles. The ends are Davis and Summers. At linebacking for the Crabbers is Jones and Carlos. Cornerbacks Billups and Hyman. And the safety is Gary McLean. And the punter kicker is Mike Houston.
You know, we've got one very key injury to the Hampton Crabbers.
Sure
Kenny
do.
Owens, number 2, will not be in the defensive lineup for the Crabbers tonight, and that could be a big factor for the Crabbers.
And he is an excellent defensive back, and they're really going to miss him out there, Tim.
All right, if we can run down the Kecoughtan offense and defense now. For the Warriors on offense, the center will be Tolley. The guards are Jones and Heath. Vernil and Mitchell are the tackles. Alves is the tight end. Allen is the split end. The wide receiver will be Milan Brown. The halfback is Monty Johnson. The other halfback will be Bonds. The quarterback, Eric Williams. And the kicker will be Dustin Rule.
On defense for the Warriors, nose guard, they play a 5-man front. They got Banks at nose guard. At the tackles, High and Mewburn. At the ends, Becknell and Watson. Linebacking is Alves, who also was a front offensive player. Wilson's the other linebacker. At the 2 cornerbacks, we have West and Fluellen. The safety and punt returner is Allen. The strong safety is Starcher, and kick returner is Reed.
We are having the presentation of the colors, Bob, and let's now join with our national anthem. Stadium. A chilly crowd tonight. Bob alluded to the fact that, of course, we have a very chilly night on hand. Temperature is going to be dropping into the upper 30s as the evening progresses. But more importantly, at least as it could be more importantly, there's a pretty stiff breeze working out there tonight, Bob. As I came in the stadium, it was blowing across the field, but it's subject to gusting and blowing from different directions at all times. So it could be a factor as far as the passing game might be for either one of these teams.
Well, not only the passing, Tim, but also the kicking game, which both of these squads have good kickers. Houston and Rule are both excellent kickers. In fact, Rule has come along real well. Coach Wade Trainham, who was a kicker in NFL and a former coach at Phoebus, has been working with Rule over at Kecoughtan. And I'd like to take this opportunity, if I could, to congratulate Kirk Newsom, the head coach of Kecoughtan, for being Coach of the Year in the Peninsula District. That's quite an honor as a first year. He was over at Phoebus last year and did a great job of doing their defense over at Phoebus, and came over here with, of course, his philosophy is a little different than Coach Johnny Paul's, and he had a new assistant coach in Mike Horton, and they've just done an excellent job, Tim.
All right, we've got the captains for both teams meeting at the center of the field. And for Hampton, they'll be represented by Weymouth Williams, who is number 60, and Sherwood Jones, number 70. For Kecoughtan, they are represented by Alan Reed, number 40, and Sean Starcher, number 44. And this will give us an opportunity to give us a chance to tell you who the officials are for tonight's game.
Yeah, we have the officials are out of the Southeastern Association. We have Conrad Parker as the referee, Jim Orr is the umpire, Larry Yoakum is the linesman, Jim Topping is the line judge, and Rob Perkins is the back judge. And this is the first time that either one of this officiating crew has got to see these two teams, so it'll be interesting.
One other thing we haven't had a chance to run down yet, but we certainly want to give credit to, you mentioned the coaching staff, and I'll do Hampton's if you'll do Kecoughtan's. Of course, the Crabbers are coached by Mike Smith, who has had a number of successful years with the Crabbers. He is assisted by Danny Mitchell, Alvis Mann, Walter Brower, and Steve Washington. The managers are Stacy Singleton, Charles Adams, and Eric Miller.
And of course, again, the head coach for the Kecoughtan Warriors is Kirk Newsom. He's assisted by Revis Conrad, who is also the head basketball coach, Mike Horton, Al Morrow, and Tyrus Woodard. And Tyrus was a young man that also coached at Hampton for a while, and then went to Kecoughtan, and now he's back in the Hampton school system, and he's an excellent coach. Mike Smith said that he does a tremendous job.
Having a discussion at the center of the field, and the referee is about to tell us who has won the coin toss. The Hampton Crabbers won it, but they apparently have refused.
What they're going to do, they've elected to receive the second half. So, but the Kecoughtan is kicking. I didn't understand that.
I didn't understand the signal either. Let's see if we can't get a good friend of ours, Roy Heath, who's just down a couple of notches from us. Maybe he can explain to us what he's a former official, and I was talking with him before the game tonight, and he was kind enough to give us some very interesting statistics on the game.
Yes, he did. I told him we need all the filler we can get.
Maybe he can give us some insight on exactly what that call was.
Yeah, I'll take a second here, and I'll go check him out.
In other words, okay, now the Crabbers will receive the ball, and they will be going from the right of your screen to the left. They're in the red, white, and black uniforms. The Crabbers are the host team for this particular game. The Kecoughtan Warriors are in the green pants with the green numerals and white jerseys with green helmets. We're just about set to go. Rule has the ball teed up for Kecoughtan. Excuse me, check that. Curtis Irving is the man going to be kicking off for Kecoughtan. Mike Stefanko is standing back at his 5-yard line. He will be the man that the Crabbers will try and get to receive the ball.
Tim, I talked to the Roy Heath, and he's as confused as you and I are. Usually if one team defers to the second half, they kick off. So we'll see what happens start the second half.
All right, Stefanko takes it at the 2-yard line. Out to the 10, the 15, puts his head down and drives out close to the 20-yard line, where the Crabbers will start 1st and 10.
That's an excellent run back. He was almost into his end zone, and in high school, if the ball is kicked in the end zone, they do not run it out, and he got it right about the 2-yard line, so that was an 18-yard return, Tim.
The Crabbers led by Eric Hunter at quarterback. Stefanko, of course, the leading rusher in the district this year with over 1,080 yards. Stefanko in the backfield along with Summers. Hunter keeps the football on the quarterback option and gets back to the line of scrimmage, and then maybe a couple of tough yards but he, I don't know whether that was a busted play or not. Sean Starcher for the Warriors came over to make the stop on Hunter.
Well, I know what they're going to do, some little bit of wrinkles in there. They're going to change some things. Wasn't privy to what they're going to do, but I do know that they've added a couple of wrinkles, and maybe that was one of them, because Hampton does, and it's a good shot at Danny Mitchell, the assistant coach, but Hampton does a good job of just running the ball and telling them, you know what I'm going to do, stop me if you can. But that was a little change. It looks like they spread out a little bit in that line of scrimmage too, Tim.
This is Murphy inside, across the 25 to about the 27. Dwayne Murphy carrying the ball for the Crabbers.
Tim, they spot that right down to 29, so that looks like it's, we got about a yard to go. He got more yardage than what it looked like he was going to get right at first.
His second effort obviously got him some extra yardage, because he did look like he was stopped at about the 27. But in fact, his forward progress was marked at the 29. So you're absolutely right. They have to cross the 30-yard line for the first down. So we've got our first third down situation for the Crabbers. Stefanko gets the call. Check that. Not Stefanko, but Murphy again. And Murphy gets the first down.
Well, you get Murphy and Stefanko and Summers in there, and they're all about the same size, Tim, and it's real easy. And the numbers are like 43, 44.
42, 43, and 44.
Yeah,
So Stefanko, in fact, came out of the ball game for that last play. Interestingly enough, Summers and Murphy were the backfield, and Stefanko, the leading rusher in the district, came out. But nonetheless, Murphy got the first down for the Crabbers. And they'll take it now from their 33. Pitchback goes to Mike Stefanko on the short side of the field. He's driven out of bounds, and he'll get little or nothing on the play. But a good defensive pursuit for Kecoughtan. They were led over there by Ray Alves.
Kecoughtan's got a good defense, and if we remember from the first game that Hampton and Kecoughtan played, that Kecoughtan's defense did a good job of shutting down Hampton in the first half. But that's we haven't seen too many just student body right sweeps like Hampton showed us that time. That was another little wrinkle, but he didn't catch anything on it. He brought back a 2nd and 10.
Andre Davis, number 32, checks in the backfield. He is in there with Stefanko. Check that Summers. And Summers is met at the 30-yard line and driven backwards, and a fired-up Kecoughtan defense has put the stops on Dwayne Murphy. So now the Crabbers will be looking at a third down and long, third down and 12, as the loss on the play marks the ball at the 31. They need to get to the 43 for the first down. And even with this closed-in booth, we are having tremendous gusts of wind.
Oh, and it's
hitting it. This is going to be a tough ball game for them down on the field.
It's blowing our sign all over the place, right, like it's getting right in front of us, Tim.
Third down and 12 for the Crabbers. Hunter drops straight back, has some time, looks now, gets some pressure, rolls out of the pocket, wants to get some running room, gets away from one would-be tackler. He'll be well short of the first down, but a good effort on the part of Eric Hunter to at least salvage something out of the play.
Oh, he was definitely in trouble, Tim, and well, the wind has picked up tremendously, and look, they will be kicking. Mike Houston's going to be kicking into that stiff breeze, because it's going across field, Tim, but it seems to be going more left to right.
You know what I think might have happened on that coin toss? Hampton may have won the toss and elected to receive, and Kecoughtan in turn got the choice of the field.
Oh.
See, this is exactly what Kecoughtan was probably planning. Houston's punt goes straight up and down, and then takes the Kecoughtan roll back to the 44-yard line of Hampton, so a net of about 10 yards on the kick.
That's very uncharacteristic of Mike Houston.
And it wasn't a reflection of his kicking ability. There's a tremendous breeze, it's a gale force.
Well,
almost.
and this is what Kecoughtan decided to do, that they have enough faith in their defense, obviously, that they said, I don't care if we have the choice or not, we're going to kick off, we're going to put you in a hole, we're going to stop you, and then we're going to...
And I think that's exactly what they did. So the Warriors take over at the Hampton 44. Excellent field position. Williams hands off. Johnson is driven back as he got to the line of scrimmage. Talk about fired up. Looked like the Crabbers are trying to atone for some things that may have happened the last couple of weeks. Muhammad Carlos was there along with Weymouth Williams to absolutely stop Johnson dead in his tracks.
Now, they gave him about a yard on that, Tim, but that was about all. That was forward progress, but that was all they got.
Second down and 9 for Kecoughtan. Williams turns around, pitches it back. He's got some running room on the outside. A real fine effort.
I'll tell you what happened on that time. See, Kecoughtan normally runs the veer offense, which is a triple option. I was told prior to the game that they're going to take out one of the options and run a 2 option, where it's just a quarterback and a pitchman. They're not going to run anybody in the center. And if that's going to kind of take away some keys on the defense, and the guy picked up a lot of yardage on that, Tim. In fact, he got enough yards for the first down for sure.
They've marked it inside the 29-yard line of Hampton. That was Mike Bonds, number 22, who made a fine effort for Kecoughtan. At the 29. Quarterback draw. At least that's what I think it was. It looked like Williams just dropped back about a yard, looked downfield, and then tried to pick a hole.
Well, that's the veer, Tim. Boy, that's one of the options of the quarterback keeper. Now, I know Kecoughtan is their offense is really built around the quarterback, Williams, and one of the things that Hampton's going to have to do is to stop him, is to keep him from running the ball, and when he does go on an option, somebody's going to hit him every time he has the ball. You can bet on that.
Pickup of a yard by Williams, second down and 9. Long count. On the option, pitch back goes to Johnson. He's definitely got some more running room. He's inside the 20 down to about the 17.
And Tim, you see what's happening? Instead of a triple option, you're running just a double option. The quarterback and the pitchman, and we're not faking a dive man into the center of the line at all. And that's different from what they have been doing in the past. So that's a little wrinkle they put in for this game. When you got 2 weeks to play a team that you have played before, then you're going to run into that. And I see Mike Smith is really mad. You can see he's talking to the officials. Something out there is happening, and I'm not sure what it is.
And the referee is telling Mike Smith, go talk to your team, but I don't have any time for you right now. So we'll see exactly what's happening. But Kecoughtan, 2 particular plays there. There might be a crackback block, which is illegal, and that might be what Mike Smith is complaining about. I think also he might just be trying to do a little sight game right now because his boys are getting beaten on those last 2 plays.
Well, every time that Kecoughtan runs that double option and they pitch the ball, now Eric Williams is getting hit just as soon as he comes down the line, but he's pitching the ball, and there's no contained man out there, nobody out there to stop the wide stuff, and maybe he feels that end is getting held inside, and that could be the reason he's out there. Because Hampton's got a good defense too. I'm not saying that Kecoughtan doesn't have a good offense, but both these teams are excellent, and when you have a big run like that, usually somebody has made a mistake somewhere.
They marked it at the 16, check that 17-yard line. It is a first down for Kecoughtan. Hampton's defense is ranked number 1 in the state, having allowed only 35 points in 10 games, 16 of those coming in the last game of the season. Again, Williams keeps for a yard or so, maybe 2, at the close to the 15-yard line. The Hampton Crabber defense has been stingy to say the least.
Well, they have been inside, but when they get around that end, it seems like they're picking up some yardage, Tim.
Kecoughtan hasn't done poorly on defense, I might add. They've only allowed a little more than 12 points per game while averaging over 18 points on offense. So a pickup of about 2 for Williams, second down and a long 8. Williams fakes the handoff. In fact, check that, he in fact did hand off.
That's the first time that they've run the triple option with the veer, where they've had the man going into the center of the line. And of course, Hampton is ready for that. That no more than just sets up some of the other plays. They're sending the plays are being shuffled in. I don't know, I guess Kurt Newsom is doing the calling the offensive plays, but they're shuttling ball players in just like what Hampton does.
So no gain on the play. It's third down and 8 for Kecoughtan. So they are facing their first big third down situation. Man in motion coming to the near side. Williams on the option. He gives to Bonds. Bonds has got some running room. He's reaching for the corner. He's got a touchdown.
He got in there with no problem, Tim. There was a good block on the outside contained man, and he just went right on around and scored.
Mike Bonds scores from 16 yards out. And Kecoughtan has gotten on the scoreboard with their first possession.
Well, they ended up with excellent field position on that poor kick. They were in Hampton's end of the field when they started, Tim.
Dustin Rule kicks it. It's long enough, and it's true. So the Kecoughtan Warriors, who didn't even know if they're going to be in the playoffs until recently, are in fact on top of the Hampton Crabbers with 4:04 to go in the first quarter. They took that ball, they started from the Hampton 44-yard line and never missed a beat, went right down the field. Hampton's going to have to make some adjustments to that double option that you're looking at there. It's been devastating.
It is that. They've picked up good yardage every time they have run that. And of course, now the Kecoughtan has got that wind to the back, and they're doing a good job of kicking with the wind and putting the pressure on the Warriors, on the Crabbers, starting deep in their own end of the field.
Jeff Klungstedt is the kickoff man for Kecoughtan. Again, Stefanko will be standing at his 5. And that stiff wind causes the ball to be blown off the tee, so we'll try it again.
It is windy out there, and if that happens too many times, they'd have to get somebody out there to hold the ball on the tee.
This one is not quite as deep as the initial kickoff. It's taken at the 9-yard line. And Todd Summers is belted to the ground at the 15.
Well, he ran right into that block, Tim. There was a man blocking for him. It didn't look like he tried to sidestep or anything, ran right over there. Well, we got a chance while the teams are getting out on the field. At halftime, A.G. Womble is going to interview Charlie Hofus, who's the head coach at TAB, which is undefeated in Group 2 and has a good shot at the championship. In fact, Hampton and TAB are going to play next year for the first time since TAB used to be in the AAA.
All right, the Crabbers start from their 15-yard line, trailing 7-0. Eric Hunter is the quarterback. Up to about the 18 or 19-yard line. That is Dwayne Murphy, number 43, who got the call. Kecoughtan 7-2, having lost to Hampton in the regular season 20-3 and lost to Bethel 24-20. The only 2 blemishes on the Kecoughtan record for the season. Pickup of 4 yards for the Crabbers, 2nd down and 6. All marked at the 19. Hunter inside for Stefanko. Stefanko drives across the 20 to about the 22. I was trying to look up some stats here on Bonds, who is carrying the ball for Kecoughtan. He doesn't even hit their numbers here. He has impressed me the 2 times he's carried the ball. This Mike Bonds for Kecoughtan.
Well, he's getting some tremendous blocking on that line of scrimmage, which gets him to the open. Evidently he's got some good speed because he gets out there and it's hard to stop him.
3rd down and 3 for the Crabbers. 2:30 remaining in the first quarter. Hunter on the handoff to Stefanko. Stefanko has a lot of room. He crosses the 25 where he gets the first down out to about the 27-yard line. So the Crabbers get another first down. And the clock continues to move with 2:22 left here in the first quarter. Kecoughtan on top, 7-0. Tim Cole, Bob Hintz, and A.G. Womble and the crew from Todd Stadium. This game airing Monday and Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Phoebus's game with Manor will air Tuesday at 9 and Wednesday at 7. 1st and 10 for the Crabbers. Stefanko, lots of room, trips over his own man, unfortunately for the Crabbers, or he might have gotten considerably more yardage.
He sure would have. He popped through there. There was an excellent job of contact right at the line of scrimmage because they really opened up a hole for him. That's the quickest I've seen Hampton open up a hole, but he didn't pick up the first down, Tim, but only because he tripped over somebody.
Sherwood Jones, number 70, made the stop for the Crabbers, which is not usually the way that works. They've marked it at the 34 of Hampton. 2nd down and about 3.5. Again, Stefanko straight up the middle. Close to the 37, 38-yard line. He'll be shy of a first down. They mark it at the 37. He needs to, in fact, cross the 37 to get the first down. So it'll be 3rd down and short for the Crabbers. Little more than a minute to go in the first quarter. Hyman brings the play in for the Crabbers, and he will replace Grady McLean, the third, number 22, who checks out for the Crabbers. Third and short. Inside handoff. It's going to be close. It'll depend on where they mark the football. Good defensive effort on the part of Kecoughtan.
But the forward progress where he is marking the ball, I believe, gave him a first down, Tim. But they're going to go ahead and have a timeout, maybe look at it, or they're going to. I see the official is waving the chain crew in to measure this. Okay.
Eagle Eye has a bad angle here. I'll go on the limb. I'll say they made it by about the nose of the football.
Okay. We get a good camera shot of that thing. Tim, it wasn't on just that. I mean to tell you, that looked like Jimmy Durante nose there.
I'm sorry, if I got to call him the way I said.
I tell you, you get him every time.
Well, I don't know about that. All right, they've marked it at the Hampton 38. They restart the clock, 45 seconds, clock moving. Hampton trailing 7-0 in a quest for a third straight AAA Group 6, Division 6, championship. They got so many divisions and groups and everything else.
They got 6 divisions now.
They got AAA Group and Division 6. Inside, little or no gain for the Crabbers. Got some good camera angles tonight. We got a camera down on the field is getting some good close-up shots of the players and the benches alike.
And they can see the field's in excellent shape. The people here at Todd do a great shape. And when we got a chance, I want to thank Wayne Begore, Newport News School System, for his able assistance in helping the crew set up and everything here. He just does an excellent job. But thanks again to Wayne Begore.
1 second, and that's going to be it. That's going to be the expiration of the first quarter. Hampton was not able to get that play off. They're probably just as glad because at least temporarily, and I say that only because the wind is gusting from different directions, but at least temporarily they will have the wind at their back. And, that was quite a good move on the part of Kecoughtan, strategic move there to take the wind.
Kirk Newsom, like I was telling you earlier, he was one of the assistant coaches at Phoebus last year and was in charge of the defense and did an excellent job. He has a lot of faith in his defense that they could stop Hampton, and obviously they did a good job because they ended up with the ball at the 44-yard line. Now Hampton has started twice, once from the 20th and one from their 15.
All right, Tim, Bob, we got TAB coach Charles Harvest. First of all, congratulations on a great season, 11-0. What about your first quarter here? What are your thoughts on this first quarter?
Been real exciting so far. Kecoughtan came fired out and moved the ball right down the field. Last time they played, it was an exciting ball game. Kecoughtan was in it right down to about 4 minutes in the game.
I know it's a little early, but you're playing the Crabbers' first game of the season next year. What are your thoughts on that, Coach?
Oh, we're really looking forward to it. Mike and I are the best of friends, and our kids are looking forward to it. The fans are. I think it's good for the peninsula. It'll be an exciting open game for everyone to come out and watch.
All right, Coach, one final question. Terry Kirby, your thoughts on his season?
He's had a marvelous season. He's had a career record already of 4,000 yards, and he's just a junior, and we held him out 4 games this year. He didn't even play the second half.
All right, Coach, you got an hour away tomorrow. Good luck and hopefully a state championship.
Thank you. I hope we can get by. They're a real tough team.
All right, thanks for talking with us.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much. All right, Tim, Bob, now back to you.
All right, AG, thank you very much. The Crabbers, 2nd down and 9, throwing it downfield. Hunter, with his first opportunity to throw the ball with the wind, was not even close to the intended receiver, Antonio Hyman. Had a couple of Crabbers out on the pattern. Looked like they had a couple of players open, but he just didn't get the ball to him.
Hyman was wide open. He just did not get the ball to him. Maybe there's a little bit of nervousness in there. And again, sometimes the quarterbacks will tell you it's easier to throw into the wind than with the wind behind you because it makes the ball sail more. If the wind's blowing behind you, you don't have as much control on it. So I don't know if that was the case or not, but it sure wasn't a good pass from this standpoint anyway.
3rd down and 9 for the Crabbers. Flags down. Looks like one of the Hampton linemen may have left a little early. It may negate this play. Downfield, Grady McLean is collared, and I think that collaring included a little face mask there, but we'll see. Flag in both areas of the field. We'll have to wait and see how they call this.
Well, if they're one against each team, what they'll do would just be offsetting. got illegal motion against the Crabbers, and we're going to have a face mask against Kecoughtan. They'll probably be offsetting penalties, and they'll just play the play down again, Tim.
All right, so the Crabbers will get a break here of sorts because, in fact, they were going to have that play nullified. It looked like there was some early motion in the backfield, or at least on the line of scrimmage by the Crabbers. So, of course, I'm not sure what the discussion, if what you're saying is the case, there really isn't any discussion at all. It's just offsetting penalties. So they'll bring the ball back to the line of scrimmage and start it over again. The down remains the same. There's no play. And it's still 3rd down and long. So we've seen 2 plays here in the second quarter, and both plays have been pass plays. So you have to wonder if Hunter didn't plan all along to try and open it up.
Well, Tim, he's 3rd and long, so he's going to have to pass. McLean was really open on that last play, and he just went down and did a button hook and was wide open.
Hunter steps up in the pocket, gets some pressure, and now he's going to be sacked. He is thrown down, and harshly so. The Kecoughtan Warrior defense does a fine job, and Chip West was the man over there, number 11.
He was running for his life because that wasn't the only man that was after him, Tim. There was more than one after him.
So the Crabbers offense continues to have difficulty here in the first half. Houston will be standing back at his 15, 4th down and long. Kecoughtan gets a good rush on the ball, but Houston's kick is good. Stops dead in the air, now takes a little Hampton roll to the 35. So Kecoughtan will have still good field position to start this particular possession. And Kecoughtan will do so, leading 7-0 with 10:53 to go in the first half. We're at the Todd Stadium for the Group AAA Division 6 Eastern Regional Semifinals.
That's easy for you to say.
Yes,
Tim.
it is.
Do you have that written on your arm somewhere?
I got it somewhere. As I said, now this is new territory for Kecoughtan. I'm looking through past championships, and
First time
that Kecoughtan's ever been to the playoffs.
And I tell you, the school is really excited about that.
You know they are. From the 35, Williams hands off right side for Mike Bonds. Bonds looked like he was stopped at the line of scrimmage, but a good second effort brings the ball out to about the 39. Well, Mike Bonds is doing a super job so far. As I said, I don't even have any statistics on him. We had some that were provided by Roy Heath, who was kind enough to give us some of his stats. We've got stuff here for Monty Johnson and for Kevin Nicholson and Eric Williams, but Bonds has not made the minimal statistics, and yet he has certainly impressed me with his running in the first quarter.
He's been the main man tonight.
Pickup of about, well, let's call it 3, 2nd down and 7. Man in motion is Freddie Williams. Williams hands off out close to the 40.
He picked up maybe about a yard that time. Where they're having the most success, Tim, is on the outside, getting around the Hampton defense. They're not getting much success going up the middle or off tackle. They're going to have to go around that end, and I look for them to do that double option that the coach was talking to me about.
So they mark the ball at the 39. It's 3rd down and 8. Check that 3rd down and 6. Williams straight back to pass. Feels some pressure, steps up, runs into his own man, and then is going to be taken down for a loss of a couple of yards.
Tim, that may have been a set play. That may have been a quarterback draw, because they like to keep the ball in his hands because he is a very exciting runner. He's got quite a few of the runs, and he's one of the men that you was talking about, some of the statistics on running the ball for the Crabbers. We'll see what kind of a kick we get this time going into the win for the Warriors.
Well, they keep it low in the efforts to keep the effect of the wind at a minimum, and it works pretty well for Kecoughtan. They've backed up the Crabbers to their 29. So by keeping the ball low, they were able to avoid what happened to Mike Houston the first time he kicked it. And again, certainly no reflection on his abilities, but Mike's kick went straight up in the air and went virtually nowhere.
Well, the
coming
wind
into the
just
game,
kind of
he was
stopped
averaging
that.
35 yards a kick.
Well, that really hurt his average. That one was a 10-yard. But this is the best field position Hampton has had starting off at the 29. They started at the 20 and at their 15 the other 2 times.
Antonio Hyman comes wide to the right. Inside handoff. Little or nothing for Stefanko. Several Kecoughtan Warrior defenders on the play. Amongst them, number 50 for Kecoughtan, Curtis Wilson. Wilson has been instrumental several times in stopping the Crabbers tonight. Stefanko will come out of the ball game, and Todd Summers will check in the backfield. So it'll be Murphy and Summers in the backfield. Antonio Hyman will set up wide to the right, just at the bottom of your screen. Gain of a yard on the last play, 2nd down and 9. Out of the eye. Hunter wants to pass. Now he dumps it off for Summers on a one-hopper. And are they going to call it a lateral or a pass? They don't seem to be indicating that it was. Well, did he in fact bounce it off the ground? Or
Looked
my
like
eyes
it to me.
deceiving me?
Well, it must have been going backward. He must have been throwing behind him because it was. It definitely hit the ground, Tim. We don't have a replay, so we can't show it. But
I don't know, maybe I missed something, but I'm pretty sure it hit the ground. Well, they ruled it was a lateral in the sense that it was not a forward pass, so they ruled it a completion, or at least it wasn't in fact a pass. It was a handoff.
Yeah. Well, they had 2 men out there on Hyman that time, but now they got him single coverage.
3rd and 3. Stefanko gets some running room to the outside. Oh, is he grabbed by the face mask again? But this won't matter because Hampton had the 1st down, and now they'll get some extra yardage.
They'll tack on 15. That was no way that should have happened. A young man just reached out and grabbed at his head. And that's going to be a good boost for Hampton because that's the first time we're going to get them in the Kecoughtan's end of the field.
Well, they marked the ball at the 49. They're going to tack on 15 more to the 34. So Hampton gets a big break here. Stefanko does a little Muhammad Ali shuffle as he heads to the bench there. He's elated at this. Of course, we've alluded to Stefanko on numerous occasions this year. He's a very small player, goes in at 5'6", about 140 pounds, but he's all heart, and he'd like nothing better than to keep the good things rolling here for the Hampton Crabbers. So they start at the Kecoughtan 34. Murphy gets the handoff, and we've got a little extra contact as Hunter was roughed up after he had handed the ball off and didn't appreciate it.
You hand the ball off, you're not supposed to get hit again. I was talking with Mike Horton the other day, and he was telling me about the Hampton Crabbers. He says, we're not too concerned about the short passes, but the long passes they're concerned about because they feel that Hunter's got a very strong arm, and you and I know that he can throw the ball right well. But again, with this wind gusting out here, I don't know how accurate he's going to be.
Hunter tosses, he's got him out open. He's got 6. And that was, again, a little unnecessary roughness. The Hampton Crabber was in the end zone.
Oh, I tell you, that was an excellent call because they split the receivers and they brought the tight end, number 87, Cofield, right across the center. And he caught the ball. There was nobody around him. That was an excellent, excellent call. The Crabber just did a super job on that. Caught Kecoughtan in a bad defensive set.
So with 6:12 to go in the half, the Crabbers have made the score 7-6. Houston will be on to try the extra point. Williams connects on the 34-yard pass completion to Cofield. And Houston's kick is long enough, and it's good.
We got a tie game, Tim.
So a 34-yard pass completes the drive. The Crabbers started, as you alluded to, Bob, they started at their 29, which was their best field position. So that's a 71-yard drive.
Well, Tim, and that was aided by a face mask call, too. So 15 yards, that came on really a mistake.
2 mistakes have hurt Kecoughtan.
Absolutely,
they had
I forgot
2
the
face
other one.
mask calls. One of those would have been a nullifying situation where, in fact, the Crabbers would have been backed up 5 yards. As it turned out, they kept the down and didn't lose the 5 yards, and eventually it resulted in them moving down the field.
I sure did. I forgot about that first one, and this is just something that happens. You and I had watched one of the Bethel ball games this year when a young man reached for a guy, and he knew it. He let go of the face mask right away, but it was one of those things, and that is always something that happens that they don't plan on. It's just you're reaching for the guy, and that face mask sticks out there.
All right, the Crabbers kick kind of a squibber. It takes a Hampton bounce over the head and into the end zone. So there will be no touchback and no run back, rather, as the ball goes into the end zone. Again, the Crabbers kicking with the wind behind them here in the second quarter, and they have tied up the ball game.
Tim, excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it's nothing will fire up a defense any quicker than when your offense scores.
Corey Cofield on the receiving end of Eric Hunter's 34-yard pass. Hunter, coming into the ball game, had completed only about 40% of his passes and was averaging 75 yards a game in the air, which isn't too bad for the Crabbers. They're not a particularly pass-oriented team. From the 20, Kecoughtan. Williams, right side, nothing there. Crabber defense is fired up now.
Well, let's see if they come back out with this that double option and try to get their man outside and see if the coaches were able to do a little adjustment on the sideline while the offense was on the field. The only problem with that, Tim, is you got so many of these young men on both teams who play both offense and defense. And you can't take, like in the pros, they can come over and get their defense together and talk to them while the offense is on the field. You can't do that in high school.
No gain on that last play, 2nd down and 10. Man in motion again. Freddie Williams, long count. Williams turns around, pitches back for Mike Bonds. Mike Bonds will not have the success that he enjoyed earlier, as Sherwood Jones, number 70, was there to say hello, Mr. Bonds.
Well, not only that, Tim, but there was a missed block too that didn't help Bonds any of that time. But you could see there was a whole lot more Crabbers over there on pursuit than there has been in the past. Crabbers will do a good job of pursuing, but sometimes what will happen is they'll over pursue and get caught on counters or reverse plays.
So now the Warriors facing a 3rd and long, 3rd down and 14 at their 14. Williams rolling to his right, looking downfield, and now he's going to elect to run it, and he is driven out of bounds shy of the 1st down.
And again, Tim, that's an option that he's got to run or to pass that ball. Coach has got a lot of confidence in him running the ball, and when he got around the outside and missed that one man missed the tackle, he was gone.
Sherwood Jones did a lot of running again. He was on the right side of the defensive line to stop Kecoughtan last time. This time he chased Williams all the way down the field and got him for the loss. Stefanko fields it at the 43, and he's taken down, but not before he crosses midfield into Kecoughtan territory. And the Crabbers again will have real good field position with 4.5 minutes to go in the 1st half, and we're tied at 7.
Well, Tim, that is the best position they've had. They've started on the 20, the 15, the 29 when they scored, and now they're starting at Kecoughtan's 48-yard line. So that is definitely the best field position the Crabbers have had tonight. And again, the wind gusting has got a lot to do with that, because whatever team has got the wind in their face or in the hole, it seems like.
Stefanko and Murphy in the backfield. This is Stefanko. And he coughs it up, but I believe they'll say he was down. The ball was marked at the 45, so a little extracurricular activity. Again, Sherwood Jones roughed up a little after the whistle.
Both these teams are fired up, Tim, and they know each other, because being in the Hampton system, you get to know the athletes. You grow up with them. You played Little League and junior football against each other, so you know each other, and sometimes you got a little pride in your area of the Hampton.
Well, we're proud to say that 3 of the 4 high schools in the city of Hampton are in the playoffs. Hunter on the option, keeps the ball and gets little or nothing. Again, something we haven't seen much of, and that's Hunter going along the line of scrimmage looking on the option play.
Yeah, that is something that Hampton hasn't shown too much this year. They have done a good job in moving the ball down the field with their dives to Summers and Stefanko and Murphy. Well, I guess they call them the ISO plays, their isolation plays. But now we've got a 3rd and long, and this is a place you would normally look for a passing situation.
Mike Smith on your screen as he's watching this game very intently. Hunter has some time, throws it poorly as the intended receiver was Hyman, but the ball was well short of the intended receiver. And now the Crabbers will look at a 4th down, and they'll be deciding whether or not to go for the 1st, but they apparently will kick the ball, taking no chances here in a tight ball game.
Well, they almost have to, Tim, with about 7 yards. And you don't want to give Kecoughtan too good a field position. You want to keep them back as close to their end zone as you can. So we got our Mike Houston in to punt.
You got to remember, too, with that wind tricky like it is. We got a trick play. Oh, my goodness. What a play by Kecoughtan. It looked like it was going to work. The Crabbers had the fake on, the snap came directly to Todd Summers, and he tripped over a player on his quest for the first down, and the Crabbers will give it up at the Kecoughtan 45.
That was an excellent call. Well, there's only 2:40-some to go in the game. I'm sorry, in the first half, Tim, which it wasn't a bad call, and he really caught me off guard. I had no idea that they would run that, and
for the saving tackle, I'm not even sure if it was his own man or not, but somebody tripped him up and saved the day for the Kecoughtan Warriors at this point in the game, because they'll get it now at their 45. And Eric Williams tosses it out in the flat for Milan Brown, and that was just a little too tall for Brown, and it goes out of bounds, stopping the clock with 2:21 to go. We're locked up in a 7-7 tie. If you just joined us, the Warriors got on the scoreboard with 4:04 to go in the first quarter. Mike Bonds on a 16-yard scamper around the right end, and the extra point by Rule was good, culminating a 44-yard drive. The Crabbers came back with 6:12 to go in the first half. A 34-yard pass to Corey Cofield, capping a 71-yard drive, and we're tied at 7 on Mike Houston's extra point. Williams drops straight back, has time, completes the pass at midfield. And again, the players having a couple of words as they part. Nothing, no blood, no harm.
Both teams are really fired up because
Sure
this
they are.
game is still up. And Tim, we do have no ties. They will they will play until somebody wins, and they have a playoff rule. I'm gonna say a tie rule at the end of the game. If we get into that, we'll talk about it.
3rd down and 5. We have whistles on the field. We have an official's timeout. And now they are charging the Crabbers with the timeout.
Yeah,
So
one of the Crabbers called a timeout, and I'm not sure why. It was, I don't know if there's not enough men on the field or what the situation was there. If somebody's hurt. There we see the Crabber
Oh,
band.
you talk about cold. I saw one of these young ladies on the screen a minute ago with the bare legs, and that girl and these cheerleaders down here. I tell you, you talk about school spirit. You got to have a lot of school spirit to stand out here in this cold.
Yeah, but take a lot of vitamin C or something, because I tell you, it really get to you.
Big crowd on hand tonight on both sides of the field. Kecoughtan has a real good representation on their side, as well as Hampton on the home side. And, well, they should. Both of these teams have played extremely well all year. Kecoughtan 7-2, the Crabbers 9-1, having lost that last. You know, we didn't get a chance to discuss this very much, but while we have an opportunity, I was curious as to what effect, if any, the down problem that Hampton had going into that Bethel game and didn't play up to their potential and lost that game. I just wondered what kind of effect that might have. We'll get your comment after this next play. Kecoughtan 3rd down and 5. Williams gets pressure. Now he throws it. It's a lateral. It goes out of bounds, and it will, in fact, be marked at the 43-yard line. That ball was live. Now we have a little more contact between the players, but unless it's offsetting penalties, which would be a dead ball foul, I believe.
Yeah, because the play was already over, Tim. The play was called. That was definitely a lateral. We could see that. The other one I wasn't too sure of. But to go back, talk to what you was talking about earlier while they're trying to figure out what's going on here. The Hampton Crabbers were just not in. He's calling a personal foul against the Warriors, so that's going to be a 15-yard walk-off from there. They were just not mentally into the game, and I'm not going to take anything away from the Bethel team. They did an excellent job, but they just weren't mentally into the game. They had already won the district. They knew they were going to the playoffs and all that. And I talked to Mike about having the layoff, and he said it really didn't help or hinder his, but he did say this last week had some excellent practices towards the end of the week. So I know the week before they played Bethel, their practices weren't real good. And again, it's hard to keep these young men. We have to understand we're talking 15, 16, 17-year-olds out here playing.
All right, into a stiff breeze now. Milan Brown will get the kick away. He gets a good one this time. Stefanko calls for the fair catch, and then he's dragged down. We'll see if there's any flag
I think
forthcoming.
they may have said he signaled late on that on the fair catch. That would be my only contention. You can see what time we got left in the first half, Tim, but you've got to signal, you've got to let the people coming down see well in advance.
So that is apparently the ruling by the officials, because there is no flag.
Well, and that's kind of dangerous because he started off on he could have fumbled it and turned the ball over.
Crabbers with another chance before halftime. The Warriors are blitzing. The Crabbers call a good play in a blitz situation and get about 10 yards. going back to, and not to belabor the point, what I was talking about, the effect that having that loss and having a down week and so forth. I was just curious because momentum, that intangible that we talk about so much, you have to wonder what that does for your team's momentum to have a game that you are totally dominated in, and there's no question that Bethel dominated the Crabbers in that game.
I tell you, it takes an excellent job on a coaching staff to get these young men's minds back on what they're supposed to be doing and that sort of thing. And you got to take your hats off to the Crabber coaching staff. And we know these young men because we have gotten a chance to follow them in the last couple of years of the playoffs. They've done an excellent job getting the thinking straight.
Inside of a minute to go in the first half. Crabbers with 2nd down and 2. And Stefanko will get little or nothing, maybe a yard. So the Crabbers now will apparently elect to keep it fairly conservative here to wind out the first half. Antonio Hyman coming in with a play, as well as Grady McLean. McLean coming into the game had been the best receiver for the Crabbers. He comes into the game with 15 catches for a little more than 280 yards, and he ranks 5th in the district in that particular category. 25 seconds to go, 3rd down and long. Stefanko races for the corner. I checked that, it was 3rd down and 1, and now there is a 1st down for the Crabbers.
And that will stop the clock while they move the chains with 15 seconds. So now the Crabbers got some, they can put the ball in the air and feel pretty safe, I think, for going for long passes. And I bet you that's what we'll see, Tim.
Well, they're moving the chains. There's some momentary delay as the chain gang on the other side sets the chains after the 1st down.
Now they've signaled timeout Hampton.
So the Crabbers will take that timeout, and that will give me an opportunity to remind you that this game airs Monday and Wednesday at 9, and the Phoebus game, which was played Saturday night, will be airing on Tuesday at 9 and Wednesday at 7. Phoebus against the Manor team from the other side of the water, the Phoebus Phantoms, who had a great season, blemished only by the forfeit of that opening season victory over Kecoughtan. They did lose one other game, of course, that game to the Crabbers. So within your own district, when you have 3 teams that are exceptionally good teams, and the 4th team, Bethel, again, they played some tough games. They lost an overtime game and they won an overtime game, so they were in most of their games. So they weren't by any means run over by anybody. In fact, they beat Kecoughtan.
That's true.
Beat Hampton.
Well, Phoebus actually beat Kecoughtan and had to forfeit that game. While I got a minute, AG, our roving man in the stands, is going to be talking to Pat Patrick, one of the school board members, and Don Musselman, one or 2 of the people he's going to talk to during halftime. So we want to make sure our people stay tuned and listen to AG.
Yeah, because he pays the bills, and we want to make sure he stays happy. 15 seconds remaining in the first half. We're tied at 7. The Crabbers looking for another chance here. They got a 1st and 10 at the Kecoughtan 45. Hunter drops straight back. Has plenty of time. Now throws it and completes it to Grady McLean at the 34. The clock stops. It will be close to a 1st down. I think they'll mark it enough for the 1st down, and that will again give them time to run one more play as they reset the chains. So Grady McLean, who has, as I alluded to moments ago, has had an exceptional year, makes the grab. Time for at least one more play. 5 seconds, clock moving. Hunter wants to throw. He does so. It's tipped up in the air. It falls incomplete with no time remaining on the clock.
I don't know why he didn't just throw that into the end zone, Tim. That would, if it had caught the ball, it'd have been time went out anyway. But that's the end of the first half.
And a couple of the coaches and players having a word or two with the officials as they leave from both sides of the field. This game, of course, played with great intensity. The teams are most anxious to do well and to advance to the finals, which will be played next weekend. And in the meantime, the Crabbers and the Warriors have fought to a 7-7 tie at halftime. And we're just moments away from going down on the field and having an interview with Mr. A.G. Womble and his guest. We'll hold it here for a minute while they set up for that. Your comments about the first half, Bob?
Well, I was really surprised how well the Warriors moved the ball on the outside against Hampton, but that was one of the adjustments that was made during the 2 weeks off that Mike Horton had told me about. And of course, we got to see Hampton come right back and score on a pass play, and we've known in the past that they've scored on running plays. They just moved the ball down the field. This wind's got a lot to do with the way it's gusting on with both teams, but it's still up in the air. It's 7-7 tie, and it's been a tremendous game so far, and we're looking for a great second half, Tim.
Should be a terrific second half as the winner goes on to the finals. The loser gets to go home and watch the finals, and you'll see as long as a Hampton team is involved in the playoffs, we'll be bringing you those games to you. I think we're about set to go down to the sidelines for A.G. Wumble, and a very chilly A.G. Wumble down on the sidelines. Take it away, A.G.
Looks like he's got Pat Patrick with him.
You ready? Tell me when. All right, Tim and Bob, we got Pat Patrick now, school board member. Pat, your comments and thoughts on this first half.
It was an excellent first half, and I believe that Kecoughtan just came out just fired up. They were ready to play ball, and they were sticking it to them. And then Hampton came back, and they had a good drive, mixed the runs and the passes, and scored. I think that if Hampton hadn't scored there before this first half ended, that Kecoughtan may be able to hold them off. I think it's going to be a real tight second half, and it's anybody's ball game.
Pat, either one of these teams you think can go all the way?
I think either one of them can. And I think there's another team that's going to be playing tomorrow night, Phoebus, that is the same caliber team as we have right here tonight.
As a school board member, and the whole school division has to be proud of these teams.
This is just exciting. We're just very fortunate to have 3 teams in the playoffs, and we're hoping that 2 of them can go all the way.
Now, you're not a stranger yourself to a state championship, are you?
No, that's right.
69, right?
Back in 1969, I was on the Hampton High School basketball team, won the state championship that year.
Man, Pat, thanks for coming down here and talking to us, and good luck on the school board.
Right, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, Tim, Bob, we got Superintendent Don Musselman now. Yeah, Don? All right, yeah, we're on. Superintendent Don Musselman. Don, your thoughts on the first half?
Well, I tell you what, this shows the power of the state. You know, you got 2 Hampton schools right here that's probably as good as any team in the state. However it comes out, I think the team that wins tonight's going to go all the way.
Okay, and we got another team playing tomorrow night might have a good chance.
I tell you, they're in a tough bracket, got a lot of tough teams, but I think Phoebus right now is on a roll, and they're really going to be tough.
As superintendent, how many state championships you got in your belt now?
I'm starting to lose count.
Okay.
But it's nice.
Okay.
All right, lose count.
All right, thanks a lot for being talking to us. All right. Tim, Bob, we got a state crabber.
How can you hear anything?
All right. We got Billy Wren with us now. Billy, what year did you play at the Crabbers?
Up until 47 was my last year in high school.
Okay, your thoughts on this first half?
Well, it's a good football game. Kecoughtan's fired up, came ready to play, and of course the win with Mike had in the first.
This win is a factor.
Oh, hell yes, hell of a. Excuse me. Cut that. And I think on Kecoughtan's touchdown drive, it had 2 clips on both runs. They clipped the corner on that side on the first one and the corner on this side. Of course, you saw Mike take a timeout and go ahead and tell him, but they
All right, Billy, 47, then what was y'all's record back in those days?
we were 8-2.
All right, Coach Easton back then.
Yeah, right, Coach Easton.
All right, Billy, thoughts on the second half?
Well, it should be just as good as the first half. I think Hampton's going to probably take control a little bit more in the second half with the passing game. He'll settle down.
Okay, thanks a lot, Billy. All right, Tim and Bob, now back to you.
Well, that was a good job that AG did, but I want to talk to Pat Patrick. He said it was 69. Dude, was it 59 or 69?
69.
Okay.
I remember when Pat Patrick was about this high, and I watched a lot of his games.
Well, him and
back in
Anastasio, Mike Anastasio, were the 2 guards on that team, and I was coaching at Bucko Junior High School, and they were over at Thorpe before they went to Hampton, and they gave me fits. They did a tremendous job.
I was still in high school at the time myself. So.
I was a very young coach, teacher. I didn't tell you that, did I?
Well, listen, you must have been very young. We have a 7-7 tie at halftime. We'll be back with more of a very exciting second half after this brief timeout.
right, we have Bobby Crawl now, assistant principal Hampton. Bobby, your thoughts on the first half?
I thought it was an excellent first half, AG. Kecoughtan came out really fired up. They took advantage of a bad punt, and
This win has played a big part so far.
it's played a big part so far. And 3 or 4 plays, they punched it in, and the next thing we knew, 7-0, Kecoughtan.
What about the second half? What's it look like to you?
I imagine Mike's got a few things to say to the guys in the locker room second half. I don't know. I think second half probably go our way.
Okay, good luck.
I'm going to be real confident.
Okay, good luck to you, Bobby. I want to talk to a couple of these mascots here. All right, we got Frida now, I believe. Frida, your thoughts on this first half?
I'm hoping that Hampton will come through in the end, but sometimes...
You keeping your claws crossed?
Yes, I am definitely keeping my claws crossed. Definitely.
Okay. Do you enjoy being Frida the Crab?
Oh yes, I really enjoy it when I see the children's faces light up. It's a privilege for me to show off Hampton High School spirit, but most of the spirit's in the students themselves.
All right, well, you're doing a great job. Let me talk to Freddie.
Okay.
And Freddie, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Oh, I don't know. We better win this.
Freddie, we'll put all the responsibilities of Freddie the Crab.
I gotta be where everybody else is.
Okay, Freddie, good luck in the second half.
Okay.
Whether from fire, hot water, steam, chemicals, or electricity, burns should all be given first aid the same way. Cool the burned skin with cold water for at least 10 minutes. Do not use butter or ointment. And if any blisters form, leave them alone. If the burn affects a large area, if the skin is broken, severely blistered or blackened, or if there is severe, persistent pain, apply moist bandages and get emergency help. A safety message from the Will Rogers Institute, White Plains, New York.
Channel 29, WHCS TV.
At halftime at Todd Stadium, the score, as you see it, 7-7. The Crabbers and the Warriors locked up, tied at 7 at halftime as we are in the Group AAA Division 6 semifinals. The Crabbers and the Kecoughtan Warriors. The victor of this game, of course, will go on to further action. The loser will not. This will be a sudden death situation, and the Crabbers, of course, looking to repeat 3 times in a row. Kecoughtan trying to play the role of the spoiler, and of course Phoebus has going to have something to do with this too. They get a chance to get involved in the playoffs on Saturday night.
I just want to kind of echo what Pat Patrick talked about with 3 teams from the Hampton system in the playoffs, and Phoebus is on a roll. Phoebus is doing a good job, but we have an excellent game here tonight, 7-7 at halftime, and I see you got some halftime statistics, but before you get to that, I did want to mention Mike Bonds. We didn't have anything on him. He came in about 2-3 games ago and took over the place of a Nicholson, young man by the name of Nicholson at Kecoughtan that got hurt, and scored 2 touchdowns in their last game against Lafayette, so he has really come on strong for the Kecoughtan Warriors, and that's why we didn't have any statistics on him.
Well, talking of statistics, at halftime, the Crabbers have 7 first downs. Kecoughtan has 2. For the Crabbers, they have carried the ball 24 times for 65 yards. Kecoughtan, 14 carries for 49 yards. The Crabbers completed 2 out of 4 passes for 44 yards. Kecoughtan, 1 of 2 for 4. Total yardage in the first half, the Crabbers with 109, and they've just about doubled the figure for Kecoughtan with 53. 2 punts for Hampton, 2 averaging 22 yards. One of those, of course, that terrible punt Houston had early in the first quarter when he was kicking into an incredible win. For Kecoughtan, his counterpart, Milan Brown, had 3 punts averaging a little more than 30 yards per kick. Penalties, none for the Crabbers, 2 for Kecoughtan for a total of 30 yards. And third down conversions, the Crabbers 4 out of 8. And Kecoughtan has yet to convert on a third down situation. Time of possession, 16:55 for the Crabbers, only 7:05 for Kecoughtan. And that's where you throw statistics right out the window, because Kecoughtan scored early and their defense held Hampton the remainder of the first half.
I want to mention that the young man that we got those from, Tom Lancaster, is the one that supplied the halftime statistics for us. We really appreciate that. As you can see Mike Smith on the sideline there. Now I'm anxious to see what's going to happen here. Hampton's got, are they going to kick off, or are they going Are they going to receive, or what's going to happen on the second half? Because it looked like they won the toss and elected to defer until the second half.
All right, we'll see. While we have a chance, too, as I've mentioned, the temperature out here tonight is extremely cold. I'm talking we're in a heated area here, and it's still kind of chilly.
Yeah, it sure is.
So let's give some credit to the people on our staff that do a tremendous job all season long and certainly have not let us down for a moment. Angela Brown and Ron Baden and Jerome Young and Sam Still Jr. are doing camera work for us tonight. Our graphics is Beverly Penn, and our production assistant is Alvina Jones. And, of course, Dr. Sam Stills is our producer and has done a tremendous job, again, organizing everything for us. So we want to thank these people while we have the chance, because they are the ones that really do the legwork and the hard work.
They get here early and set this thing up, and then they got to tear it down and take it over to Western Branch tomorrow night. Kecoughtan is going to kick off again. So Hampton did have the choice of deferring to the second half, and evidently the Mike Smith doesn't feel the wind is going to hurt him that bad, because he's going to take the ball at the beginning. And, you know, it's maybe he's playing into the hands of the Kecoughtan Warriors. That's what they wanted to do. But the wind seems to have dropped a little bit, Tim. I'm looking at the flag, and it doesn't seem to be flying around quite as bad as it was during that first half. But we'll see you on the kickoff.
To recap for you, if you joined us late, the Kecoughtan Warriors got on the board first. A 44-yard drive capped by a 16-yard scamper around the right end by Mike Bonds at 4:04 in the first quarter. Extra point was good, and the Crabbers returned in the second quarter on a 71-yard drive. A 34-yard pass play to Corey Cofield completed the drive for them, and they tied it at 7, and that's where we stand. Stefanko breaks up the middle all the way to the 30-yard line. It looked like for a moment he might have enough room, but the Kecoughtan pursuit caught up with him. But the Crabbers will have good field position to start the second half.
Well, then not only that, Tim, he did a good job of finding a seam that time. He just popped right through an opening, got some good blocks, and popped right through a seam, and he had to get caught from behind. He would have definitely picked up a lot of yardage. The ball spotted at the 31.
A reminder that in high school ball, they play 4 12-minute quarters, unlike college and pros where they play 15. We have 24 minutes of half football coming your way. The winner goes on, the loser goes home. Kecoughtan defense stands tall as with no gain on the play for the Crabbers.
That was number 87 for Kecoughtan. He met Stefanko right at the beginning. That's Mike Watson. He met him right there at the line of scrimmage. In fact, lost maybe about a half a yard. And looks like somebody's hurt there for the Warriors, Tim. I can't pick the number up. It looks like there's a 1 on it, but I'm not sure.
Well, we'll wait and see. Not sure exactly who it is, nor would we want to speculate to the injury, but it is a Kecoughtan Warrior who is down on the initial play here in the second half.
And coming in the screen is Dr. White, who comes to most of the Hampton high school ball games, and is a doctor that just donates his time to help any injured ball player.
Again, we thank AG for those interviews, and we hopefully will have some more. Just talking about Pat Patrick, tell you how long ago it was I saw him play ball. I had hair when Pat Patrick was playing ball, so that's to give you an idea of how long ago that was. He's still got plenty of hair.
Yeah. It looked like he's got something wrong with the leg, the way Dr. White is moving his leg around. Never could get the number. I hope it's not a serious injury. It could be a knee, an ankle or something, but we'll just wait and see.
Well, he is getting up, and it is number 81 for Kecoughtan.
81. I thought I saw a 1 on it. That's good.
Ray Alves.
Well, that's a good sign to see him walk off the field. Now, he has to go off with 1 play, Tim. When they would charge a timeout to the Kecoughtan Warriors. Of course, I know the Kecoughtan Warriors are glad that he went off the field, because he is their tight end, and one of the linebackers does a good job for him, or defensive end, I'm sorry, that does an excellent job for the Kecoughtan Warriors.
Second down and 11. This is Summers. Summers gets up to about the 39, 40-yard line, so he picks up about 8. And the Crabbers now will be looking at a 3rd down and about 2 for the first down. So Summers, who had good success throughout the season, he averaged 5.5 yards per carry on the season and a little more than 48 yards per game. And he was ranked 8th in the district in rushing.
We had momentarily, we got a chance to see the coaching staff there. They're working on the sidelines, and they're excited about what's happening.
3rd down and 1, and Summers gets the call again. He'll have the first down.
And Stefanko comes back in.
And
that was Alvis Mann with the headset on. He's talking to his cohort up here, Steve Washington, who is right down right alongside of you there. Maybe you can listen in and figure out what they're talking about.
First down at the 43 of Hampton. Stefanko, left side, struggles close to midfield. Among others over there for Kecoughtan, on the stop, Mark Banks, number 76, along with the ever-present Curtis Wilson, number 50 for Kecoughtan. Kecoughtan's defense has been superb in this ball game. They have held the Crabbers. Now we've got an official's timeout.
No, they called they called a timeout to the Warriors, are being charged with that timeout, Tim. And they've got to do some adjustments because Hampton is moving that ball pretty well, and this is what they've done in the past. You and I have done their games. They've been able to come out and just go boom, 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 and, pick up good yards off tackle with the three runners that they use. And maybe that's what Coach Newsom is doing, is trying to find out what's happening and make a couple adjustments there, as you can see the officials.
As you said, reflecting on the first game between these two teams in the regular season, the Crabbers came away a 20-3 victor, but not before a superb effort by Kecoughtan. In that game, Kecoughtan led 3-0 late in the first half before Hampton went ahead 7-3 at halftime, and it was never headed after that. But Kecoughtan played a really tough game against Kecoughtan that game, as they have this evening. All right, time is back in. It's 2nd down and 4 at the 49 of Hampton. Stefanko puts his head down and gets close to the first down. It'll depend exactly where they mark the football. It will be close to a first down or a third down.
The mark is back about a half a yard shy, it looks like to me, Tim.
Well, they've signaled first down, so they marked the ball at the 47. So he got a good mark on that one.
Well,
that's your left foot, right foot mark.
That was a half yard the other way, I guess.
So
I'm not going to do that anymore. You do such a good job on that. Well, that's your department.
First down at the Kecoughtan 47. Hampton grinding it out. This is Stefanko across the 45 to the 41.
I tell you what, the Hampton Crabber offensive line is doing a good job of coming off the ball and winning the battle at the line of scrimmage, because they're opening up little holes, and you don't need a big hole for Stefanko and Summers and who's that other young man? Murphy. Those young men popped through small holes. That picked up about 6 yards on that one.
Stefanko, in fact, did that. He's got a 2nd down and a long 3. This is again Stefanko, left side, same play, and it looks like another first down for the Crabbers. So the Crabbers open up the second half with success on the running attack. That offensive line for the Crabbers making some big holes. Sherwood Jones, the last man back to the huddle, he plays, of all the players on the team, I think I like his play the best, because he's always present, both offensive and defensive.
And you will see him all the time out there, and I know the coaches are real pleased with the way he's a tremendous leader on the field.
1st and 10. Again, same play, same result. 4 or 5 yards each time. And the Crabbers will be happy to take 4 yards every time they touch the ball. They got more than that again. They picked up yardage to the 32, just inside the 32. So they'll give the forward progress of about 6 yards on the play.
Well, Tim, it looks like they're running basically the same play. They just that line is just doing a good job of sealing off and opening up small holes.
Again, Stefanko in the middle to the 30, and he's driven back there. You have to wonder, of course, the coaching staffs are so involved in decisions that are made at halftime to the adjustments that are made, and you have to wonder if Hampton might have seen something during the first half that they saw a weakness they might be able to exploit. And they're having some fair success right now. Now they're looking at a 3rd down and 3. They need to get across the 27 for the first down. The ball is resting just shy of the 30. And now Hampton is going to, well, check that. I thought they were going to charge to Hampton, but Kecoughtan has called their 2nd timeout. So this could, in a tight ball game, this could be crucial. They've already used 2 of their timeouts. And we're just barely into the 3rd quarter.
Well, and Tim, you got to understand what the coach has got to do is he's got to stop this offensive surge of the Hampton Crabbers. So he's got to get out there and make some adjustments, and the only way you're going to be able to do it is call timeout. So if you don't make them and Hampton goes down there and scores, then you really got to play catch-up now, and he wants to stop them so that they can't score. And I'm trying to see if Ray Alves is back out on the field or not, because he is a defensive stalwart for the Kecoughtan Warriors, and I have not seen number 81. I don't know if he's out there or not, Tim.
7 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the third quarter. Hampton and Kecoughtan are locked up at 7. The winner of this game will play the winner of the Kempsville-Maury game being played tonight as well. If Hampton wins, that game will be at Todd Stadium. If Kecoughtan wins, it will be at a stadium on the other side of the water. I'm not sure exactly where they'll play that game.
I'm not sure either, Tim. Again, it depends on who wins, I guess.
So the Crabbers now looking at a 3rd down and 3. Kecoughtan digging in. They know they've got to stop Hampton. Hunter pitches back. Stefanko, left side. He does not have the first down. A real good effort again on the part of that ever-present number 50 for Kecoughtan, Curtis Wilson, who's had his name called as many times as Sherwood Jones has for the Crabbers. So Stefanko loses a yard, and now the Crabbers will look at a 4th down and 4.
Well, I look for him to go for it from here, Tim. I don't think they'll be punting, and it's going into the wind. He's not going to kick a field goal. But that was different than they have been running all along. They've been going off tackle, and they went around in that time, and I'm sure Coach Smith thought they had made some adjustments.
4th down and 4, Summers, and he's going to come shy. Well, let's hold on until they blow it dead. They have, in fact, blown the play dead, and it will be shy of a 1st down. So the Kecoughtan defense has come up big, and the Warriors will get the football. So give credit to the Kecoughtan defense. They did it when they needed to at the 29-yard line. Summers struggling for some extra yardage. Couldn't quite get to the 1st down marker. And Kecoughtan takes over on downs. So those
Obviously,
adjustments you talked about, they did a good job. Kurt Newsom isn't Coach of the Year because he's a good-looking man. He's there because he knows what he's doing.
And he's been a defensive coach when he was over at Phoebus, so he made the right adjustments.
So the Warriors take over.
Brown in motion there. Excuse me, Tim.
Williams fakes, wants to throw, does so. He's got Milan Brown wide open, and if he hadn't fallen down, he might have gotten more, but they've got the ball in Hampton territory.
Well, number 8 for the Warriors, Anthony Billups, Heike Billups, slipped and fell down. So he fell down as did Milan after he caught the ball, but Milan was the one that was in motion that time, and boy, you can see on the other side, the Kecoughtan Warrior bench is just jumping up and down.
They're getting into the ball game as if they needed to. They've been in this game from the very beginning. Kecoughtan has been fired up, as Hampton. This is the kind of playoff game we'd hope to see. 6.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. 1st 10 at the Hampton 49. Freddie Williams, the man in motion to the far side. Williams spins, hands off. This is, again, Bonds, Mike Bonds, number 22, who spins all the way down to the Hampton 45. Met by a couple of Crabber defenders, amongst others, Andre Davis Jr., but he crosses the 45. And it's 2nd down and about 6 for Kecoughtan.
Anthony Hyman checks in for the Crabbers. He's going to cover. They got 2 wideouts over on the far side, the Kecoughtan Warriors do.
Williams, short drop, pass, has got a man wide open. Milan Brown's got the ball, he's driven out of bounds, but not before he gets the 1st down.
With that double wide out over there, they send one man streaking down, and Milan just takes about 2 or 3 steps and stops and gets the ball, and it's like a one-on-one. And that's not a bad play, and it's obviously been very successful as you see that the Warriors got another 1st down.
So the Kecoughtan coaching staff has done some adjusting of their own, and they, on their initial possession of the 1st half, have moved the ball to the Hampton 32-yard line. 1st and 10 for Kecoughtan. Williams on the pitch back. He's got running room. This is Johnson, Monty Johnson, inside the 25 down to the 23.
This is kind of ironic. I look at what Hampton did in that first half. They started at their 29-yard line, and that's when they scored. And here Kecoughtan is starting at their 29 and moving down the field.
They've marked it inside the 24 of Hampton. The wind has continued to gust. Williams, the quarterback. Second down and 2. Milan Brown in motion to the far side. Williams looks, wants to pass, throws it downfield, and it goes complete.
What an excellent catch.
Milan Brown makes the grab at the 6-yard line.
Tell you what, I'm real impressed with the way that Eric Williams is passing that ball, Tim. That's a long pass over there in the deep flat, but Milan Brown did a good job of concentrating catching that ball that time.
First and goal at the Hampton 6. 4 minutes and 10 seconds, the clock moving. Third quarter, we're tied at 7. Williams pitches back. He's got a man open inside the 5. The ball comes loose. I believe Kecoughtan has it.
Yeah, number 71 fell on the ball that time for the Warriors, Tim.
Mark Vernil. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name.
Vernil, yeah.
Vernil?
That's kind of scary. You're moving the ball down and you're within scoring position and you cough the ball up.
You know, it seems to me, and I could be wrong, but it seems to me that in that initial Hampton-Kecoughtan game, Kecoughtan did fumble inside the 10 when they were threatening to score in the regular season game.
Sure is. That was during the second half.
Eric Williams hands off inside for, again, number 22, Mike Bonds. He's not going to have the touchdown, but he's that much closer. They'll mark it inside the 1. Second down and goal for Kecoughtan. Right about the 1-yard line.
Remember the first score, Tim, they went around the end to score around the right end, and this time they're going right up the middle, and this is really a test for the Hampton defense. You get this close, you got to come away with something.
Well, you know, if they need to, and check that, it's third down now. It's third and goal at the 1. I had lost it down there. And no, the ball is capped by Williams, and he's going to be thrown for a loss.
Excellent surge by the defensive line of the Hampton Crabbers, because they threw him for a 5-yard loss that time, but that was a fake to the dive man, and I'm sure Williams was either going to pitch the ball or keep it himself, but he never got a chance.
So now we'll see the talented toe of Dustin Rule as he will be on to try a field goal. They'll spot it at the 12-yard line. It's blocked. The football is blocked. The Crabbers have held. What a big play for the Hampton Crabbers.
Tim, that's unbelievable to get down that close. You had a third and goal on the 1-yard line and end up with coming away with nothing, and that's got to really demoralize your team. They'll take a supreme effort on the coaching staff over there on the sideline for the Warriors to get that team fired back up again. I know the Hampton couldn't believe they come away with not giving up any points.
They had a first and goal at the 6 and come up with nothing. And how many times have we seen the Crabbers do this in the last 3 years? Time after time, when tough situations arise, the Crabber defense is there. So new life as a flag goes down. Hunter hands off, but we've got flags on the field. I think we're going to see a call against the Crabbers.
I believe so. I believe there was some movement on the line of scrimmage prior to the, that's what the call is, Tim, by the official.
There you see a good close-up of the official, and the Kecoughtan Warrior.
That's Conrad Parker, the referee.
Sean Starch, number 44, was the man being conferred with for Kecoughtan. Of course, they'll take the penalty. It backs up the Crabbers to the 14. Hampton defense has once again come up big in this game. Both defenses have played superbly tonight. And not to overuse a terribly trite cliche, but it's a shame to see either one of these teams end up on the losing side because the effort has been superb on both sides.
And that's the truth.
This is Stefanko off the right side, and he is driven back after a very short gain, if any.
Well, I tell you one thing I know the Hampton Crabbers hope happens is that if they do have to punt, that this minute and 4 seconds gets off the clock, so that at least they'll punt with the wind to their back.
There's no question that they're not going to be in any great hurry to get a playoff here. Of course, they don't want to have a penalty, but it's going to be second down. They've still got about 14 to go for the first. 5-yard penalty, and then the 1-yard gain by Stefanko. Hunter keeps the ball. He's got some running room. Got a blocker out in front of him. He's wrestled out of bounds at the 25. And that'll be shy of a first down, but it certainly gives some breathing room to the Crabbers, and they'll look at a third down now. They need to get to the 29 for the first down, and they'll mark the ball at about the 24, just between the 24 and the 25. So it'll be a third down and 4. And the one thing the Hampton team didn't want to have happen was the clock stopped.
Right. If Eric Hunter had cut to the right instead of to the left, he'd have stayed in bounds and picked up basically the same number of yards, but the clock would have been running. But now it's stopped with 33 seconds. So
it may be academic as we go along here, but it is third down and 5 for the Crabbers. Kecoughtan has already used 2 of their allotted timeouts. On the delay, Stefanko gets the call, and he gets the first down.
He's a gutty runner. I tell you, Tim, when you want a big play, it seems like you give the ball to Stefanko, and he'll come up with it.
He's your money man. There you see him, little Mike Stefanko, number 44, who has, throughout the season, led the district in rushing, only to surrender that lead to David Brown of Phoebus in the final game of the regular season for both teams. Not only did he give up the rushing title, but the scoring title as well. But nonetheless, when it counts, he's the man to give the ball to. So 10 seconds remain in the third quarter. Stefanko again gets the call. Ball comes loose, but it was whistled dead. And we may have, in fact, seen the last play of the third quarter. We have. And that will conclude the third quarter. So we've still got the same score we had at halftime. Hampton 7, Kecoughtan 7. We've got one more quarter, 12 minutes of exciting football for you, and you couldn't ask for a much better game.
I tell you, Tim, in this second half, we're seeing offensive thrust by both teams. Kecoughtan getting all the way down to the 1-yard line and coming away with nothing. And Hampton is moving that ball well, but they have not got close enough. I think they got down to about their 30 is the closest they got, and then they had to, they went on it fourth down and didn't make it.
Well, I wouldn't want to count noses, but I don't think anyone's left this game.
I don't think so either, Tim.
As cold as it is, I'm sure the fans are eating this up. And if you haven't been out to support your local high school team, you still have time. One of these teams will go on to further action, as well as the Phoebus Phantoms. Of course, you're watching this game after the fact, as well as far as Phoebus's advancement is concerned. We won't know that, but one of these two teams will advance to the finals to be played next weekend at a site to be determined by whoever wins. Kecoughtan wins, they have to travel. Hampton wins, they'll host that game here at Todd Stadium. Crabbers now second down and 7 at their 39. Hunter pitches back to Stefanko. Stefanko weaves and bobs his way all the way out to the 48-yard line. So Mike Stefanko showing the form that gave him 108 yards per game average this season. Had over 1,000 yards rushing, and he's only 5'6", 145 pounds. So Mom and Dad, if you're thinking about football for your son and you don't think he's big enough, take heart. It doesn't matter how big you are, it matters how much you want to play.
Well, Tim, I don't want to take anything away from the offensive line. They're doing a good job opening.
No question.
Stefanko will be the first one to tell you that, I make it because I'm getting good blocks.
Summers down to the 44. So the Crabber offensive line, as you alluded to, continues to make those holes. And when you've got the talented running backs that they have, that's all you need. So it's been a game of offense in the second half, yet we have no scoring because the defenses have been there where they needed to be.
That's the truth. Hampton has got into Kecoughtan territory, and Tim, they've got a tremendous field goal kicker in Mike Houston. He's done a good job with them all year, and he got the wind to his back.
Oh, Stefanko is met for no gain, and the ball comes loose. I believe Eric Hunter covered the fumble, but a super effort on the part of number 76, Mark Banks for Kecoughtan as he grabbed Stefanko and threw him for a loss.
He shot the gap that time, Tim, and nobody laid a hand on him, and he got right through and was in the backfield about the same time that Stefanko got the ball. That was a heady job. We got third and what does it look like, about 4?
Third and about 4, you're right, and the play comes in as Stefanko comes out. This is interesting now because of the rotation, the way it works. This is the second time in a row that Crabbers have had a big third down, and Stefanko has come out of the game for that particular down. This is Todd Summers looking for a hole. He's got good quickness, and he's going to be close to a first down. But it's going to be real close. It will depend exactly where they mark the football. I will not speculate at this point. They're going to bring the chains across.
You're not going to guess, Tim?
Well, I might.
You've been known to do that.
It's a bad angle again, though. You know, I'm going to hedge my bet here and tell you that it's a tough angle. I think he. You know, I'm usually pretty sure about these things, but I don't know about this one. I think he might be about an inch shy. I could be putting my record on the line here. See, I just had a feeling about that one.
It was more than an inch, though. You blew it. No, you batting 1,000, Tim. With that short a distance to go, I have a feeling that Mike Smith is not going to give up the ball. Good surge on your offensive line, and a quarterback sneak will pick you up that 6 to 8 inches that they have to go.
You got to remember, too, that you've got the wind behind you. So, conversely, Kecoughtan will be going into the wind should they hold them on 4th. And certainly, Kecoughtan's defense has been up to the task so far this evening. And this is probably the most crucial play of the ball game. 10 minutes and 4 seconds to go in the ball game. We're tied at 7, 4th and inches. And this one is going to be carried by the big man. This is number 32, Andre Davis, 6'1", 212. And he doesn't do a lot of running, but when they need short yardage, he's the man they call on.
And he went. He picked up more than enough to pick up that first down.
So they needed about 1.5 inches or 2, and he got them about 2 yards as they marked it shy of the Kecoughtan 40. But a new set of downs for the Crabbers. And there he goes. There's Todd Summers. He's looking to cut back. What a nice drive. What a beautiful play on his point. Touchdown.
Unbelievable. He made a tremendous cut and just actually the Kecoughtan Warrior man just lost him. It's unbelievable, Tim. That was a great individual effort once he got through across the line of scrimmage.
What a play by Todd Summers. Number 42 has just done one super job of running the football.
Tim, we have the coach, Hampton coaching staff down here. They're dancing the jig and just having a good time.
Hope no one falls through a window. That's a long drop to the stands. Houston will try. No, check that. They're going to try a 2-point conversion. It will go for naught. And this could be a big play.
Tim, that was not an intended 2-point conversion. That was a very high snap from center, and the holder just felt like he couldn't get the ball down in time. So that could be a big difference. We got 9:35 to go. Kecoughtan has got the ball. They could score a touchdown, extra point, and walk away with this ball game. But that was a tremendous run by Summers.
This is one of those times that I would die for instant replay because that run by Summers was just as pretty a run as you'll ever see. He was stopped several times. It appeared like he was going to have somebody catch him from behind. He spun away from one man.
There was 2 men there, Tim.
He just would not be denied, and that's the type of effort you have to have.
He stopped and did a juke step behind one guy and spun out of the hands of another guy. That was just a tremendous individual effort.
You talk about Stefanko as the ball blows off the tee. I don't know whether they're going to want to reset it or not. But that was the kind of effort that you have to have on these occasions. And Todd Summers was up to the occasion and scored from 41 yards out. The Hampton Crabbers are on top 13-7. A missed extra point could loom to be a big factor. But let's remember, Kecoughtan now has to go against the wind for the remainder of this ball game. And this one goes in and out of the end zone. Actually hits the upright.
You can see what kind of a win. I'm not saying Mike Houston didn't have a good leg. He's been known to kick them into the end zone, but out of the end zone, you know the wind is really kind of gusting out there, Tim.
So Kecoughtan will start at their 20. Houston made sure no one returned that ball.
Tim, they started, what, about their 15, 13-yard line or something? after they blocked that field goal attempt was about where they started. That was a tremendous drive that the Hampton Crabbers did.
85-yard drive, we'll call it. Kecoughtan now faced with the big obstacle. They've got 9:35. They've got to get a touchdown. Long count. Williams inside. Mike Bonds fumble. And apparently Kecoughtan will retain possession. As Mike Bonds got the handoff from the spinning quarterback Eric Williams of Kecoughtan. That cold football and cold hands, I'm surprised, I shouldn't say this, but I'm surprised we haven't seen a little more mishandling of the football because it is downright cold out there.
Well, I tell you what, those young men are warm. The ones that are out there playing are hot. They're sweating, Tim.
Loss of 2. Kecoughtan 2nd and 12. Williams pitches out. This is Mike Bonds looking for a block on the outside. Gets one, and sheer effort gives him good gain out to about the 33-yard line. A late flag comes down. And this is something you don't see a lot of, but the Kecoughtan Warriors are jumping for joy, so I would speculate that it's against Hampton. You got a dead ball foul.
Oh, 15-yarder, Tim. And you remember on Hampton's first drive, when they went down, they were aided by a long 15-yard face mask penalty.
So Hampton now has made the error of committing the foul after the play, and it gives Kecoughtan a first down at the 42 of Kecoughtan. So this might come back to haunt you. There's a 15-yarder right there. And I said that Kecoughtan needs a touchdown. They, in fact, need 6 points. And with rules successes this year, you can't rule out the possibility of field goals, but going into the win makes it that much tougher. 8.5 minutes and some change remaining. Williams spins, pitches out, and Monty Johnson is tripped up, and they're going to rule that his knee went down at the 40. He did a good job of getting some extra yardage, but they'll rule that he touched his knee to the ground at the 40-yard line.
You can see the crowd, Tim. We got a tremendous crowd here tonight on both sides. This is tremendous football. High school football is great anyway, but when you get into the playoffs, you really get to see some good teams play.
Well, covering predominantly Hampton City Schools this year, we have seen good teams play. None of those teams that we've watched have played anything less than good football. Loss of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 12 for Kecoughtan. Time becoming a factor now. 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Williams wants to pass, pumps, and then throws. It's behind the intended receiver. Had 3 Crabbers over there, Andre Davis amongst others. And also on that play was Anthony Phillips, number 8, who had fallen down on that previous play that allowed Kecoughtan to get down and have a 1st and goal against Hampton, only to have the attempted field goal blocked.
They call him Ikey Phillips. I got a chance to meet him over at the school one day, talk with him a little bit.
3rd down and 12 for Kecoughtan. Clock stopped at 7:47 from their 40-yard line. Williams has time, throws, completes the pass across midfield down to the 43-yard line, and a first down for Kecoughtan.
That was a tremendous job of faking in the backfield because he faked the draw play and really sucked the Hampton defense in and did a good job of passing that ball.
So Kecoughtan is very much alive. This ball marked inside the Hampton 43-yard line. And Eric Williams comes up with a big play. New set of downs for Kecoughtan. You saw momentarily on your screen Mike Smith, the head coach of Hampton. Williams spins, pitches back. This is Bonds. Bonds looking for a block, crosses the 40 down to the 36. Still driving with the football, and not before he reaches about the 45.5-yard line. Check that, 35.5.
He did a good job after getting tackled, Tim.
He's a real strong. He comes in at 5'9", but he's 190 pounds, so I would suspect that he has some real good upper body strength and leg strength, and he just simply carried a couple of would-be tacklers with him. They've marked it just inside the 36 of Hampton. 6 minutes, 45 seconds. I'll keep you abreast of the time because it becomes a very important factor as we wind down here. Kecoughtan a touchdown and an extra point from taking the lead. Got a man wide open, Milan Brown in the flat. He's inside the 25.
They have used that play more than once tonight, where Milan just goes down about 3 steps and stops, and he hits him, and he's a one-on-one situation. And they've been very, very successful with that play. and they're moving down within scoring position now. They're getting close again, Tim.
They've marked it squarely on the Hampton 23-yard line. Another first down for Kecoughtan. So they have been able to solve the Hampton defense here in the fourth quarter. Trailing by 6 points. A extra point attempt by Hampton was muffed, and that could loom to be extremely big at this point. At the 23, Williams spins, has some running room, and crosses the 20 down to the 19. So Williams, on a play where he had the option to pitch back, kept the ball, turned it up, and was marked at the 19-yard line. Getting down to nail-biting time now. You know, you have to wonder if Mike Smith might be getting close to the point where he might want to call a timeout. And I'm not going to second-guess Mike Smith, but, you know, to use that same analogy that Kecoughtan used, sometimes you have to take that timeout to get your defense reorganized.
Well, and take a little of that momentum away from the offense, too, sometimes.
At the 19, second down and 6. Wants to pass, looks inside, now runs with the football, and he's taken down at the 15. 5:19, clock is moving. Kecoughtan is moving this ball into the wind. Of course, they're not having to pass all that much, but when they've passed, Williams has been extremely accurate.
He's got a strong arm, Tim. I'm really impressed with the way he throws that ball out into the flat. Got a lot of poise.
Inside of 5 minutes, 13-7, Hampton leading by 6. Third down and 2. Williams keeps the ball. He'll be close to a first down. They needed to get to the 13, depending on where they mark the ball.
Looks like the mark is up close to the 12.
Well, let's see. They've marked the ball. Can't quite make out. It looks like the ball is going to be marked right on the 13. So I would say at this point it looks like a first down for Kecoughtan. That's what it is. First down for the Warriors. Oh my, oh my. 4:38 to go in the ball game. Kecoughtan at the Hampton 13-yard line. And now we're getting down to crunch time.
Yeah, we are that.
The Hampton defense came up big earlier in the second half when they stopped Kecoughtan after Kecoughtan had a first and goal at the 6, only to have a blocked field goal attempt. The Crabbers took the ensuing possession and marched 85 yards for the go-ahead touchdown. But now Kecoughtan threatening at the Hampton 13-yard line. Williams looks, has time, passes, nobody there. The intended receiver in the end zone had fallen down, and he was not even close. Milan Brown was the man in the end zone.
Well, he was getting to the end zone for the pass, and Williams threw the pass short of the end zone. I guess he thought he was, maybe that was a timing play where he figured he'd go about 10 yards down there and make a turn. Sometime when you run a timing play like that, you got to go down those 10 yards. If you don't, you're not going to get the ball.
Clock stops with 4:06 to go. Second and 10. Williams pitches back. Mike Bonds, and he's hit on a nice open field tackle. Ball comes loose, but they're going to say no. They're going to say the ball was dead. The ground cannot create the fumble. But over on that play was Todd Summers, who, if I'm not wrong, is filling in for Ken Owens.
Yes, he is. Ken Owens is a tremendous defensive back that is not playing. He's hurt, and he did an excellent job of tackling a one-on-one job that time with Bonds. And actually, they lost quite a bit of yards. Well, they lost, about 3 or 4 yards on that play. But that's what you got to do, is you got to come up with the big plays. And, of course, Kecoughtan is in a situation where, Tim, they're not going to – I don't look for them to kick a field goal. They got to go and try to get the ball in the end zone on a touchdown, not on a field goal.
Third down and 13 at the 16-yard line of Hampton. Williams has time, now gets some pressure, and he's got some running room. Williams down at the 5. It's going to be 4th down and 2 to go for Kecoughtan.
Well, that's one of the things that the coaching staff were kind of worried about, is that he is a good scrambler and he's a good runner when he gets the ball. And you saw that time, he did an excellent job. But they got, he picked up about 10 yards, but it's 4th and 3, so this is crunch time for both teams, Tim.
And Kecoughtan has called a timeout.
And it's got to be their last timeout too, Tim, because they called 2 earlier.
So they have called their last timeout, stopping the clock with 2:45 to go in the ball game. I can't remember when I've seen any more of an exciting ball game than this. I know we've watched a lot of them through the last couple of years, but this one is getting down to it. You know, when you got 2 Hampton City's teams involved, it really gets to be tough.
Well, you said it when you said it's nail-biting time, because it definitely is nail-biting time for both teams. But the monkey is definitely on the Kecoughtan back. They have to pick up the first down. They don't have to score, but they got to get the first down. Then you got 4 downs to get it in the end zone. So that means if they get it to the, looks like about the 3-yard line is where they got to get it to, Tim. But of course, they would not turn out if they could score. They would do it in a heartbeat. But
so they've got a little more than 2 yards to go. The toughest 2 yards in football. When you get inside the 10-yard line, it's really tough. Williams has had a double threat all night long.
What are they going to do? Are they going to run the ball? Or are they going to pass it, Tim?
If Mike Smith doesn't get off the field, it'd be called for too many men on the field. What are they going to do?
They got to spread out. I bet they're going to run it.
I think they might. I don't know. I'll let them call this one because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't want to make it. That's why I'm up here and the coaches are down there. 4th and 2 at the 5. He's going to roll. He's going to look. He's got some time. He gets some pressure. And there they got him. The ball is fumbled, and the Hampton Crabbers have held.
What a tremendous defensive play. I thought for sure they would run the ball, Tim. He did roll back like he was going to pass it. And, of course, he fumbled the ball. It makes no difference if he gets it or not because it was 4th down. The ball goes over to the Hampton Crabbers.
You know, you got to give some credit to an area of the defensive team we haven't mentioned, and that's the secondary for the Crabbers. I think what you saw there was Williams couldn't find a man open, and that's what was the doom of the Kecoughtan situation, is they couldn't find anybody to throw to. You can't hold off that on-rushing defensive line for the Crabbers all night.
There was a good defensive surge, though, Tim, also. He turned around, there wasn't anybody open, and he took a step, and boom, all he could see was red. And it's not red because he was mad. It was red because that's the uniforms that the Hampton Crabbers, that the Kecoughtan was looking at. We got a timeout now against charge to the
Crabbers have called timeout. Oh my, this has got to be so disappointing for the Kecoughtan Warriors. Their first postseason play, and they come up with 2 superb efforts here in the second half, only to have one of them end in a blocked field goal attempt, the other one on a 4th down at the Hampton 5. They needed to get 2 yards, and they just couldn't come up with it because the Hampton defense just didn't let them do it. They covered the players, and they did the job.
Tim, they moved that ball 75 yards because they started at their own 20. So they got the ball clear down to the 5-yard. That's 70. That's a tremendous drive for any team. And then that's twice, though, they have been down there and have come up empty. The first time was on that field goal attempt that we saw that was blocked, and then, of course, this time. But can't say enough for the Hampton defense. They just, when it gets tough, they got tough, and they just did an excellent job.
They really did. And that's, as I said before, and I meant it, it's a shame to see either one of these 2 teams lose. I know that the comments in the paper by the coaches were they hated to see their opponent to be a team within the district, and I know they meant it because it's tough when one of these teams has to go home and the other goes on. Right now, the Crabbers are in the driver's seat. They've got the ball in the hands of Mike Stefanko. He's out to the 20. They don't really care about how much yardage they get at this point. They simply want to get a first down or 2, and more importantly, grind that clock down, which now is inside of 2 minutes. And Kecoughtan has no remaining timeouts.
Oh, well, they got a hurt player on the field, so that will stop the clock momentarily when you have an injured player on the field. It looks like number 76 there for the Kecoughtan Warriors, Tim.
Mark Banks, who has played a great game tonight.
He really has.
He's been instrumental on defense for the Kecoughtan Warriors. You talk about the Hampton defense, the Kecoughtan defense has done more than their share tonight. And big Mark Banks, who comes in at a cool 260, 5'9".
He is a big guy. I saw one of the coaches say, "Here, let me help you out," and he just kind of lost a couple inches in height there when
he's a big boy. We're sorry to see Mark Banks limping off the field. I hope the injury is very superficial. He is being helped off, so we hope there's nothing serious or wrong with Mark Banks. He played a superb game tonight. And he is a senior, so this will be his last game, assuming that the Crabbers hold on to win here. Clock is moving. The Kecoughtan Warriors used all of their timeouts, and now they cannot stop the clock. Hampton looking at a 2nd down and 7, using as much of the time as they can. Stefanko again gets the call.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Tim. When they go hand that ball off, you can bet that they're going to hold on to it with both hands. They're not going to take a chance of fumbling that ball. We got 1:20 going, and it's really looking doom for the Warriors. Of course, now it's not over, because one thing can happen is they can stop the Crabbers, force them to punt, block a punt. A lot of things can happen.
No question. We're still more than a minute, but we're right on a minute now. As I speak, we go inside of a minute to go. 3rd down and about 5. So Kecoughtan needs to stop Hampton here, or they have no chance, and they do. Mike Stefanko, check that. Murphy is met and stood up in the backfield. And again, a super defensive effort. Well, let's get it right yet. These 42, 43, and 44 drive me crazy. That was Todd Summers. They're all built about the same, as you say, and the 4-2, 4-3, 4-4. It's hard to pick up, but now, 4th down, the ball has been marked for play, so Hampton must get at least one more play off in some capacity, because even if they wind out all the time, there will still be some time remaining on the clock.
That's right. And what they're going to do is let that clock just go right on down, take the 5-yard penalty.
Well, what they've actually done is they took as much time as they could, and now they've called their 2nd timeout to avoid the penalty. They don't want to go back any further than they have.
That's not a bad call.
But now they're looking at a 4th and 5, 4th and 6.
Do you think, Tim, that maybe the Kecoughtan will try to block the punt? You think they'll set up a return, or
I think that's a foregone conclusion that we're going to see every man on the Kecoughtan side of the line of scrimmage going for that football. There you see the story. Ball's on the 20, 4th down, 4th quarter, just 16 seconds to go. Kecoughtan has played valiantly. They've come up a little shy here. Just to recap for you, Kecoughtan scored first, as they did in that initial game between these two teams. Mike Bond scored from 16 yards out, and the extra point try was good. And at 4:04 the first quarter, Kecoughtan led 7-0, capping a 44-yard drive. Then Hampton came back and scored on a 34-yard pass from Eric Hunter to Corey Cofield with 6:12 to go in the half. The extra point by Mike Houston was good, and that capped a 71-yard drive. And until the 4th quarter, it was remained at 7-7 before the Crabbers held on a crucial field goal attempt. They blocked the punt, got the ball on downs at the 15, and drove 85 yards, capped by a 41-yard run by Todd Summers that defies description. Todd Summers' run was absolutely incredible. And now Hampton calls yet another timeout.
Well, I see what they did that time, Tim, is he put it on like he was not going to punt the ball to see what the Hampton Crabbers would do. And, what the Kecoughtan Warriors were doing. They had 11 men on that line of scrimmage.
It's snowing, Bob.
It's snowing. It sure is snowing. Well, we said it was cool. It is coming in now.
It is snowing at Todd Stadium.
You can see it on the screen, Tim.
Well, if this is any indication of what the winter is going to be like, I'm going to buy an extra set of woolies.
Well, I'm going to put my long johns on. Well, tomorrow night we get to go to the Western Branch and get to watch a tremendous Phoebus team. Coach Billy D and his coaching staff done an excellent job over there at Phoebus, and we'll get a good chance to see them when they play Manor tomorrow night.
That game will air Tuesday at 9 and Wednesday at 7 right here on Channel 29. This game airing Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. Again, a thanks to our crew. Our crew has done a great job as usual.
Think of this, Tim. What if you center the ball,
and you take the safety?
And you take a safety, and then that means you get a free kick, so they can't.
Well, they've got a very odd situation. You can see it on your screen. Well, you can't at this moment, but Mike Houston is standing on the goal line, and between him and the line of scrimmage is Todd Summers, number 42. Now the ball is going to be bounced to him. He's going to run into the end zone. He's going to run around, and the clock has stopped. Hold everything here. the officials have stopped the clock before, well, there's a flag down. So
well, I think a Kecoughtan Warrior jumped off side. If he did, of course, that's a 5-yard penalty against the against the Warriors, and that will move the ball closer to a first down. And of course, some time did go off the clock. And it's only 10 seconds, I think, what we started with 14?
16 seconds.
16?
But you have to wonder now if that 6 seconds will be put back on the clock. Was the offsides, it appeared to be all blown dead before the ball was snapped. So if that's the case, you have to reestablish those 6 seconds, don't you? I mean, they erroneously moved 6 seconds off the clock if it was a dead ball foul. So the penalty is not enough for the first down. They needed 6 yards for the first down. So the offsides call will not give a first down to the Crabbers. And now the referee is going over to the near sidelines to tell Mike Smith and his coaching staff what exactly his decision is.
I got to thinking that that's the safest thing to do is to give up the 2 points. So they end up with 9. They win 13-9, but the team doesn't have a chance to block it. They have to. Then you got a free kick. They can't block a free kick.
Of course, you got to remember that ball is loose and live. You know, that ball was dribbled back to Houston. If one of the Kecoughtan Warriors recovers it,
that's kind of scary.
So it ain't over till it's over, as Yogi Berra said.
But they say it's not over till the fat lady sings.
They've put those 6 seconds back on the clock, so they have, in fact, 16 seconds remaining in the ball game. So the time, a bad snap, and they're coming. Houston gets it away. It's a wobbly kick. There's nobody back, and it takes a Hampton roll. And my, they're going to want to stop it before it goes out of bounds, but the clock will stop with the change of possession. So Houston gambled and did not take the safety attempt that time, and almost got a porch kickoff, but he was able to get a good roll on the ball.
Well, and there was nobody back either, which made the ball was going to roll and just roll around anyway. But now the clock has started, Tim. And they're not even going to get it off.
They did. They got it off. Well, did they or didn't they? They've got flags down, and that is your ball game. So you have to wonder why Kecoughtan went to a huddle with 6 seconds to go. You would have thought they'd get up there.
Get over the ball is what they should have done. And again, that was it. We have got to see just an excellent game tonight. Both teams did a good job. And Tim, the first half, to give you an idea of what happened during the first half, Hampton had the ball 5 different opportunities, Kecoughtan 4. But the second half, Hampton had it 3 times and Kecoughtan had it twice. So, I mean, the ball didn't change hands. Both teams moved the ball down the field offensively. And Kecoughtan did a good job moving the ball, just come away empty-handed each time.
Well, you see head coach Mike Smith of the Kecoughtan, of the Hampton Crabbers, and got some other competition.
ABC. You can see the snow blowing down there, Tim, and it's coming in on the window up here.
So we're going to hold it here for a moment. We hopefully will have a chance. I'm trying to find AG down there. Is he down on the field, Bob?
Well, we got a camera down there close. AG's got to be down there.
Well, just to recap for you, of course, we recapped the scoring for you moments ago on an extremely cold, windy, blustery night at Todd Stadium. The Hampton Crabbers have gotten the scare of their life. They got all they wanted and then some from Kecoughtan. And as I said before, without belaboring the point, it's a shame somebody has to lose and somebody has to win.
Weymouth, I know why now that you were voted Defensive Player of the Year. Tell us a little bit about those 2 big defensive drives that Kecoughtan had and y'all stopped.
Well,
first, I think they had on the 1 yard line there one time.
Yeah, that was kind of like a speed option. That speed option was working quite well for them. And in our play, we had a stunt. And we just killed the quarterback before he could pitch the ball.
Okay. And then another key play here, of course, late in the fourth quarter. I think they had 4th and 3. Now tell us a little bit about that defensive effort.
That was an excellent play, but secondary. It was, a quick seam pass, and Eric had nobody to throw to. That gave us time to get there. And we got a good defensive pressure. He had to run it backwards and louder instead of forwards. And we got a good sack on him.
Okay, Weymouth, you guys had 2 weeks to think about this game.
Yes. After the Bethel loss, we kind of came together as a team, started concentrating more on our techniques and skills. more on football instead of other things.
All right, one great season. We're going to be following you all the way through the playoffs and hopefully another state championship.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, Tim, Bob, we'll see if we can get Coach Smith here in a minute.
Well, he's looking around for some people, and you can see down there, that's right cold, and he hadn't even got his coat buttoned up.
He's a better man than I, because I tell you one thing, this is one of those times when you're glad that you're
All right,
up
Coach
here.
Smith, great game. You have to be proud of that defense and the whole team.
Oh, I thought we played very well. I think they got a fine football team, and I thought we played very well.
Just all Wyoming, y'all really rose to the defense rose to the occasion. There 2 big plays.
Well, you have to do it sometimes.
Yeah,
you know, they've been able to do it all year. We just didn't. Last time we played, we just didn't generate any offense.
Mike, big difference this week and 2 weeks ago.
Well, I think it's a little bit more stake than it was 2 weeks ago.
No question about it. Mike, we're going to be following you all the way through the playoffs, hopefully another state championship.
I hope so, too.
Great game. Okay, Tim, Bob, let's see who else we can get here.
Well, while he's looking at that, too, you got any final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts are I want to remind you that Phoebus is playing Saturday night. That game will air here Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday at 9 and Wednesday at 7. So I hope you'll join us for that game. And Hampton will host the playoffs against the winner of the Maury-Kempsville game.
Right,
That
and
game
I
will
have
be
not
played
heard
here.
anything about that. We've got some radio stations here, and I thought we might hear who was at least leading in that contest, but we have no idea. But that will be here at Todd Stadium, and hopefully it won't be quite as cold and windy and blustery.
All right, let's go back down to the field to
We got Al's man, Danny Mitchell. Al, what's your thoughts on this big win?
It's a very good game. Both teams playing hard, and we came out on top. Very good.
All right, Danny, I was talking to Wymoth and Coach Smith earlier. The defense came through on 2 key plays there. One, I think they were down on the 1-yard line, and then, of course, their 4th and 3 in the late in the 4th quarter.
Well, you know, that was big plays. Both of them were. In last game, it was 2 big plays down inside the 10, and they fumbled. And, you know, we live with those excuses about the fumbles. And this time, by gosh, we just stopped them. And we were real proud of those boys.
That run by Todd Summers. Tell us a little bit about it. We were hoping we could get.
Ready to run. Todd said he was ready to run. I said, "Could you score, boy?" And he scored. Yeah, he said he was ready.
Okay, he did.
Pursuing inside too much.
Okay, there was a couple 360 turns he made on that run. I was hoping we could talk to him.
Todd is a powerful back. He's a hard runner, and that offensive line opened it for him. He took advantage of it.
All right, Alvin, we're going to be following you guys all the way through the playoffs and hopefully another state championship.
But I wish that we, played Kecoughtan for the regional championship. They're a good team, and nobody can take anything away from them. They had a heck of a year.
Thanks a lot, Danny. Alvis.
Okay, thank you.
Well, we're getting ready to close her up here, Tim. We ran out of had some technical difficulties there with the last interview with.
We ran out of tape is what I think
Oh, is
happened.
that what happened?
We got A.G. Womble down on the field. I think he's got one more interview. This was with Sherwood Jones. If we can go down to the field now on A.G.
All right, Sherwood Jones, great game, 2 key defensive plays and all kinds of offensive plays. Your thoughts on this big win?
Well, when they drove down to our 5-yard line, we stopped them, and they came out to kick the field goal, and I shot through the gap, and I was lucky enough to get there on time.
Okay. Another key play, 4th and 3 in the 4th quarter there. About 2 minutes
left. We dropped back in our zone, and we took Derek Williams before he got started. We got to him before he got started.
Big difference this week, 2 weeks ago, Sherwood.
Yes, like I said, we didn't play to our potential when we played against Bethel, but we came back and made it show tonight.
Sherwood, great season so far. We're going to follow you all the way through the playoffs.
I hope so. I hope we can make it that
Good
far.
luck.
Okay,
this
thanks
be
a lot.
3 in a row for you, won't it?
Yeah, 4 in a row.
4 in a row. Okay.
That's right. Hampton has been to the state championship 4 times if they make it this year.
Great season. Are we on? All right, Kurt Newsom had to be disappointed with the loss, but you had a great season, and you guys, it could have gone either way tonight. Your thoughts on this tough loss?
Well, we played a great football team, and we didn't punch it in the end zone when we needed to, and they did, and they capitalized on a few of our mistakes, and it's just a great high school football game.
This is one of the best ones I've witnessed. It's too bad that both teams couldn't win. Your first season thoughts are reflecting back on a great season.
Well, I think we've got some great kids over here, and the administration's been super, and Coach Pauls has been real good, and it's just been a real enjoyable situation in this first season. We're real happy with it.
Okay. Great season again, Kurt, and we're glad to have you as a head coach in the Hampton School Division doing a great job.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, Tim, Bob, now back up to you.
Thank you, AG. Very chilly AG, done a fine job down on the field tonight. I tell you, he
Yes,
had the tough job. We had the easiest stuff up here.
Well, I tell you, he didn't even have his coat button on. It's kind of chilly to me.
We want to thank our crew for a great job again tonight under most adverse conditions. You saw snowfall just before the conclusion of tonight's ball game. The Hampton Crabbers advance to the finals. They will play the winner of the Kempsville-Maury game. That game will be here at Todd Stadium next weekend. The Hampton Crabbers win 13-7 on the electrifying 41-yard run by Todd Summers in the fourth quarter, and the Crabber defense came up when it had to. Super job.
They did that.
All right, for Bob Hintz, A.G. Womble, the entire crew, thank you for watching, and good night, everybody.